All right, hey everybody on the internet, whether you're watching us on Facebook, you're streaming us on Roku or Fire, you're watching us on YouTube. My name's Steven Adams. I'm the executive producer, one of two of What's Brewing. Of course, you know our host here, Jenna Bourne, who brings you our investigative series on YouTube on our secondary channel, that Deeper Dive channel. And right over here is Lauren Powell. She is our incredible investigative producer who is the brains with Jenna behind most of the series you see over on our Deeper Dive channel. So if you haven't gone and subscribed over there, go and check it out. But the reason we wanted to hop on for a minute over here is because we've got kind of a frightening story to tell you about, which is hidden cameras. Jenna and LP over here have been looking into hidden camera stories for a little bit. Sorry, I think you might be getting feedback over here.
Yep. It's because you're trying to watch our live stream while we're streaming.
We're trying.
Technology.
This is going to be a little rough over here. But we want to be able to answer any questions you guys have.
Hopefully not too rough.
Right, exactly.
I'll try to rein it in.
We'll clean it up for our big investigation tomorrow. Jenna, why don't you kind of start by giving us the background on this particular story as I try to pull up comments and whatnot, and when people are going to be able to see this investigation.
Yeah, so you're going to be able to watch this tomorrow at 6, that's Thursday at 6 here on 10 Tampa Bay. You're also going to be able to see it on YouTube, which is going to be a slightly longer version in my YouTube series, What's Brewing. You can find that on our YouTube page, YouTube channel, The Deeper Dive. And that's going to be posting also around 6 tomorrow on Thursday. So before we get started, I want to show you a couple of things that I brought with me here today. So I want you to take a look at some of these kind of common household items here. We've got a smoke detector. We've got an AC/DC adapter. We've got a phone charger. One of those little adhesive wall hooks. And we've got a digital clock. So over the next couple of minutes, I want you to try to guess for me in the comments, because I'm curious to hear what you guys think, which one of those items is actually a hidden camera. So again, smoke detector, AC/DC adapter, phone charger, command hook, digital clock. Let us know what you think in the comments. We'll come back and give you some spoilers later.
Jeannie, Rhonda, Amy, I already see you guys commented on this video. Paula, so hop in there with the comments.
I dropped my mic. Hold on one sec.
Jen's picking up her butt.
Got it.
But we want this to be super organic with you guys, so, we'll take your questions. You got your mic?
Yes, we're good. We're
awesome.
Good. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Yeah, so let me tell you a little bit more about the story. So, this all started when I was, like a lot of my stories do, when I was looking into something completely unrelated to this. I was looking through a bunch of records that were related to some whistleblower allegations about the Tampa VA. And while I was looking through those, something in there just jumped out at me like, what? What is this? How did we not know about this? This is something that happened in October 2020, and I've never heard about it. Looked it up on the Google, and nobody else has reported on it. So this thing that jumped out at me was that a hidden camera was discovered in a Tampa VA bathroom, an employee bathroom, back in October of 2020. And you guys, I wish I could say that this was the first time that I've had to report on a hidden camera in a bathroom, but it's not. And so it made me think of, well, just how often is this happening here in Tampa Bay? I mean, here's something that you would think would be a prominent case of this that we never found out about. So just how often is this happening? And so we dug a little deeper. We reached out to a couple of local state attorneys' offices, and we found that hidden camera crimes, video voyeurism is the technical term, has doubled between 2019 and 2020. And that got us just kind of looking into, well, why is that? How do you spot hidden cameras? What are some other ones that have happened here in the Tampa Bay area? And that's what our story's about tomorrow.
And LP, for those who are just joining us, I know several of you just hopped on. Lauren Powell here, investigative producer on our What's Brewing series, along with Jenna, who you just heard from our host. Lauren, what's kind of the one thing that really stuck out to you most when you were investigating this particular story?
Well, it really made me think about situations I had been in.
Right.
And how easily it is to hide some of these cameras these days. And then when you find out that this is happening at, a VA, which you would think would be pretty high security, and we had never even heard about it, that made me start thinking, how many public restrooms have I been in personally? Or how many hotel rooms have I stayed in? How many Airbnbs have I, been to? And that's what scared me. And then also seeing those numbers, like the change in the numbers there. And then finding out how easily accessible these cameras are. That's what really stood out to me.
Which brings me back to something that we were talking about right at the beginning here. We showed you a few items here off the top of the video. For those of you who are just joining us, we showed you a smoke detector, AC/DC adapter, phone charger, wall hook, and a digital clock. And we asked you to guess in the comments which one of these you thought was a hidden camera. And the answer is, if you guessed literally any of these items, you're correct. These are all hidden cameras. And these are all things that we were able to buy online and get in just a couple days, delivered right to us.
And this is horrifying to me because, I look at one of these up close, like the smoke detector, and, I test my smoke detectors, but I don't really think about the mechanics inside them. Like, how is somebody like me or LP supposed to look at that and know that that's a hidden camera?
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of red flags when you look at this, but in order to do that, you have to take it off the wall and check it out. If it's up on the ceiling in your Airbnb or in your hotel room, wherever, you might not even notice it. But if you take it off the wall and you open it up, you might notice there's not actually any like smoke detection equipment inside. There's places for SD cards, memory cards. That's not normal in a smoke detector. Most of us have changed smoke detector batteries. You should know, looking in here, that this is not what it typically looks like. Another red flag here is that it's not a name brand. There's no branding on this at all. I know it might just look like a big white circle because of our light, but I can tell you there's no branding on this.
I wonder if I can get it closer while you're talking.
Yeah, thank you. There's no branding on this at all. Oh yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
And there's no button to test it.
Yeah.
Most smoke detectors have a test button where you can see, if you need to change your batteries, whatever. And those are a couple of red flags to look for if you think that you've spotted a suspicious smoke detector
There's
somewhere.
another thing too to think about, like if you're wondering, how to like an easy way to kind of detect anything that might be suspicious is like if you see, normally you see a smoke detector on a ceiling,
Right.
up high, like on a wall or something. In a lot of cases, from what we've learned from our experts that we've talked to, is that a lot of these cameras are hastily put up. So if you notice one, in an awkward place, like on a wall somewhere, like kind of down low, things like that, that's another red flag, like something that just seems a little out of place. So that's another thing to look for.
The one that really freaked me out was all of these digital clocks that we were able to get. We got 2 of them actually. That have cameras in them, because I don't know about you guys, but when I stay in a hotel or at a vacation rental, I've got a clock right by the bed, and it's pointed right where I'm sleeping.
Right.
And that really freaked me out when I thought about all of the times that I've never bothered to check to see if there was a little lens in there.
And as Jenna's pointing out right now, we went out and bought these devices so we could show you, right? As part of the story about how they're already all across Tampa Bay. So we wanted to know if there are bad guys out there putting a camera in the VA hospital bathroom, or they're putting them inside a school, or they're putting them inside your Airbnb, all of which will be covered in the story tomorrow at 6 o'clock p.m. Thursday on 10 Tampa Bay. We wanted to understand how they did it, right? We wanted to understand what to look for, and that's the privacy expert that Jenna was talking about. LP, I wanted to get back to something you were mentioning just a second ago. You said if we're talking about the smoke detector hidden camera, a way to notice it might be it out of place, kind of lower than normal so it's near a power source.
Right.
The one that scares me a little bit is this cell phone charger.
Yep.
Because that's going to be low to begin with. If I walk into the house of someone I trust, or I walk in somewhere,
Yeah.
Is there anything we can do about something like this?
Inspect it. And it's easy to inspect. I mean, I say easy, but you can usually look, like if you unplug it, you'll see on the back of this one there's an SD, like a spot for an SD card. You might want to, if you can put that up.
Yeah, there's a camera lens here.
And there's also a camera lens there. So don't be afraid to unplug things. Just check them out. I mean, something like that, you can just pull right out of the outlet, and then you can tell pretty quickly once you pull it out. But I mean, if you don't pull it out, it's hard to detect. I will say that whenever I found out about these, it reminded me of a situation where I was at the airport, and underneath the bar, a lot of like the bars at the restaurants and things there, they have a place where you can plug in your phone, things like that. And there was one restaurant that I was sitting at the table, and someone seemingly had left their adapter there, and I didn't think anything of it. Just plugged my cord into it. Had never thought twice about it until we saw these, and I said, "Oh my goodness!" Because wouldn't that be a place for someone to try and put a camera is underneath a table or something of that nature, and it really scared me.
Yeah, and the thing too is this is a functioning charger. It does work. So if you're trying to test it out by saying, oh, does this actually charge my phone? That's not always going to be an indicator that this is actually a hidden camera. This one actually doubles as both.
Actually, everything that we have here, with the exception of
the smoke detector,
actually works.
Yeah.
Courtney Robinson, our 5 o'clock anchor and noon anchor here, who's sitting near us, actually just asked a question in our feed because she's watching too. I don't know that I have the precise answer, but I'll try and hit that and circle back to something with you two. So Courtney asked, am I allowed to put a hidden camera in like a hospital if your loved one is staying there and you're trying to keep an eye on your loved one in the room? I would run that by a legal expert or by your state, right? Because many different states, and we know some of you are tuning in from all over the place, have different rules about 1 or 2 party consent. I'm sure this is true for both of them, but in states where I've worked in journalism, we've had very different rules about could we record a phone conversation or not. So I would really look at where you are, and I don't want to give overarching advice to you if you may not be watching this in the same place that we're sitting. Having said that, I think it opens up an interesting conversation back to you two about when we went to purchase these. We had a very specific intention. The intention was to make people smarter, make them more aware, help them protect their own security. Did anyone ask when you were ordering them online, why are you buying it? I mean, how easy were they to buy?
We got them on Amazon. I think all of them, right?
It was as easy as just an Amazon search.
Yeah,
no questions asked. Just, put your credit card information.
Yeah, no one asks why. They just ask for your credit card.
And the fact that we signed off on this for a story means they weren't that expensive.
No, they were cheap. They were real cheap.
Yeah,
I mean,
very cheap. I mean, anyone could go on there. I'm trying to think of the actual cost, but I know that they were, very inexpensive.
yeah, and that was one of the main reasons why our expert says he believes that this has become so common, is that the technology has gotten to the point with these hidden cameras where they are so cheap and easy to get that almost anybody can get one.
What was something he said when you had him in that house one day looking for hidden cameras that you were like, didn't know that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best piece of advice that we got from him when it comes to looking for hidden cameras and concerns about hidden cameras was, if you're not sure about something, just unplug it. Unplug it and put it in a drawer. If you're staying at, a vacation rental or a hotel and you see a digital clock, you're like, oh, that kind of looks like it might be a lens. Even if you don't want to look to see if there's a lens and you just don't trust it, unplug it, put it in a drawer, take it back out when you leave.
One thing that stood out to me too, because if you just think in your head, if you find one of these and you find out that it is a camera, that there is a hidden camera in your room, bathroom, what have you, most people's first reaction will be destroy.
Sure.
Do not do that. Do not destroy it. You need to report it.
Okay.
Don't destroy it. Because that, there could be, laws, depending on where you are, where this camera is. you know, that you could get into a lot of trouble with. Even if it is a hidden camera and you destroy it, that you need to report it, and immediately, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's not your property, but second, you could be destroying evidence in
Right.
a criminal investigation.
100%.
I think, first of all, that's really good advice. Keep that in mind. Francis, you had a good one. Let me scroll back up. Francis Fuller, you mentioned that you have a loved one in a nursing home and suspect mistreatment. I understand that that's not specifically what we're talking about right now, but as Courtney flagged and you flagged, it's absolutely a legitimate concern. So if you really do suspect that with your loved one, please contact us. We have an entire investigative team, of which these are two of the talented individuals on it, who would be more than happy to look into that for you. So at the end of this feed, go find Jenna on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you want to look. Do you guys just really want to quick let people know how to contact you?
Yeah, of course. My handle on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, it's all the same, Jenna Bourne, WTSP. Lauren?
And you can, the best way to get in touch with me would probably be my email, which would be lpowell@10tampabay.com.
And I'm jbourne@10tampabay.com, JBOURNE at 10tampabay.com.
Jason Bourne.
The same. You're the first one to ever make that joke, Steve.
I'm the first one on a live stream.
That's what you think.
Hey, Francis actually had another question that was specifically related to this story,
Okay.
though. Can you grab the hook one?
Yes.
Francis was asking where the camera is on the hook.
It's right here. Can you hold it up to closer to the
Yes.
camera?
This
It's
is
right at the top.
actually- This is actually my favorite one.
Yeah, Lauren, tell us your story about this one.
So I was there setting up for our shoot with our wonderful videographer, Paul Thorson, and he had already set up some of these cameras before I got there. And right before the shoot, I was looking around and I was like, oh my gosh, the hook. That's one of our cameras. So even someone who had searched for hidden cameras, helped purchase the hidden cameras, I had forgotten that was a hidden camera.
It blends in. You're so used to seeing these adhesive wall hooks.
And it was, where we had it located, I'm not going to give that away, but where we had it located for our story, you'll see is a very common spot for anyone to have an extra hook.
Yeah, and again, this really just makes you question if you're in a restroom or in a changing room and you see a hook like this on a door or wherever. Just take a quick look at it and see if there is a small dark circle, if it could be a lens. Really question, why is there a white plastic hook in here and not maybe a metal one if you're in a public restroom? Just if it looks or feels out of place, if it looks or feels like, why isn't this a metal hook instead of a plastic? I would just go somewhere else.
And you can also, with most hooks like this, they slide off. So you can slide it off and look on the back, and on the back of this one you actually see like a switch.
Yeah, and there's a little place to plug it in on the back here as well.
And I think for this story, right, a few of the examples, if you're just joining us, that Jenna and LP are going to talk about in the piece tomorrow at 6 o'clock on Tampa Bay is this camera that was found inside a hospital bathroom in our area, right? Another that was found inside an Airbnb that somebody rented.
Yeah, one of these smoke detector cameras.
It's wild.
Longboat Key.
And then we also dug into a story you probably already are familiar with, which involved a teacher. Do you want to just give a little background into how there's more context that you guys didn't know at home about that story that we're going to be bringing to light tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. This was a situation that happened at Bloomingdale Senior High a few years ago. A fashion design teacher there, Mark Ackett, has pleaded guilty to secretly recording 125 students and one staff member as well in a changing room in his classroom. Students would go in there. It was a fashion design class, so they would go in there to try on the pieces that they were designing, to when they were doing fittings or doing alterations on those pieces. And we got some images from the state attorney's office that actually show us the camera setup that he had in there and how difficult it would really be for those students to notice what was going on. First of all, that closet was just full of stuff, right? So there are so many places where these cameras could have been hidden. But what those images revealed to us was that he had cut holes out of these printer paper boxes, these cardboard boxes, and had the cameras in there. So these students really would have had no way of knowing that they were being recorded during these really private moments for them. And we're actually speaking to one of the students who was recorded. This is her first time speaking publicly about this. Other than speaking out in court, she was one of the students who were brave enough to come forward and make a public, a victim impact statement in court during his sentencing. But this is the first,
See how it impacted her long term too. I mean, this wasn't something that, oh, they got the guy, they've got the pictures. I mean, she still struggles, with wondering who else is watching. Could somebody else be, recording me right now? So it's had long-term effects on her.
Mary Ellen, I saw you in the comments a second ago mention you're having trouble picking up 10 Tampa Bay these days. Let me give you a couple options, too, if you're having trouble getting us over traditional means. One, we have free apps basically everywhere. You can get us on your phone, on Apple or Android devices, any sort of tablet, where you can watch our newscasts live, so you'd be able to watch this live. Additionally, if you're someone who likes to watch on your TV, we've got the smart TV apps covered too. So we have a Roku and Fire TV app where you can find old episodes of Jenna's series, What's Brewing, but you can also watch this live at 6 o'clock p.m. tomorrow on 10 Tampa Bay. So just go into your app store on your smart TV and look for the 10 Tampa Bay app. Additionally, on top of that, we originally premiered on YouTube. So you can go back through the entire archive of Jenna's year-plus series. Year and a half now?
Yeah, almost 2 years.
Wow.
This is episode 38.
That's crazy.
I know.
It's really good. I mean, and I just want to speak, with pride about these two for a second. We really listen to you guys and what you say. And, a lot of times we hear people, I don't like this about news. I wish I could trust the news more. What have you? This whole series that was focused on local investigative problem solving and things that were related to your lives was all born out about trying to regain that connection and credibility that you all are looking for. And I think if you go back and watch some of this series on our Deeper Dive channel, you'll see that these two are really working hard for you and giving you an option to turn to if you feel like you're lost in some of the options that you've had before. Let's take a quick look at the comment section. Mary Ellen, we just talked about you. Marie Hicks, you're sick of all some cable channels. That's okay. We're on all the platforms I just mentioned. So please check us out on YouTube. Check us out on your smart TV. You can watch all the hard work that all the people behind us do every day in their shows. You can watch the shows live.
Yeah, and I really hope that you'll check out our YouTube channel. Our channel is called The Deeper Dive. My series on there is called What's Brewing. And it's just a series of what we like to call caffeine-fueled deep dives into issues that matter to you. We're just taking a look at issues that no one else is reporting on and digging deeper and exposing things that people, especially in our government, want hidden.
All right, LP, pick one of those that's sitting in front of us right now because we have people that are just joining. If you're just joining, we're talking about hidden cameras. LP, what's the most interesting one to you? All right, we're going for the hook. I'll hold that up. LP, why don't you quick recap what this is?
So that is a hook that looks pretty functional, like any other hook, but there is a camera inside that. It even fooled me on our shoot, and I was one of the people who purchased it. So if you look close, you'll see a little camera there, and then also if you pulled it off of the wall, you could see on the back. There's a
place to plug stuff in. Yeah, there's a place to charge it. There's a place to plug stuff in. That's not normal on a standard wall hook. I mean, you could see this on a wall on the back of a door, and hang your bag on it, think nothing of it, and have no idea that it's recording
maybe
you.
Under a counter top or something.
Right, put your purse on. Yeah.
So those are things to think about.
I got a question, having seen the content as it's evolved. I have to imagine that a good number of people who are doing this aren't getting caught. Does that jive with what you guys kind of found?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, these cases that, we've been giving you examples of, these are the ones that were found. And in many of these cases that we looked at, these cameras, a hidden camera recorded multiple people, and law enforcement was never able to track down who those people were. Maybe they find one of those, like maybe the person who finds the camera and they were recorded on it.
Right.
Okay, they can identify that person, but there are 4 more people who were recorded, for example, using a public restroom, and law enforcement have never been able to track them down. And that's on a camera that was found. So the expert that we spoke to as well was saying that, he gets, what did he say, 3 to 10 calls every single day about in our area from people concerned about hidden cameras.
And keep in mind, we're showing you some that are super hidden. People are also using their cell phones.
Right. We have an example. There was a Circle K in Lakeland where an employee there was accused of putting his cell phone in an envelope under the sink and recording women in the bathroom there on Valentine's Day. So, yeah, we have seen a lot of cases where they're not even disguised; they're just phones.
And I want to reiterate again, like we said earlier, for anybody that's joined us late. If you find one of these, do not destroy it. Do not destroy it. Alert someone to it, because you could be destroying evidence. It could also be, against the law if you're, destroying someone's personal property. So that was one of the really big takeaways for me.
Yeah, that's an important point to reiterate there.
Felicia wanted to say hello to you specifically, LP. Felicia, hello. Logan, thanks for joining us. Hello to you as well. Michelle, Craig, thanks for joining us. Sonia, Jesse, thank you for watching. Deborah, Bridget, everyone who just tuned in. Corey, thanks for watching. You guys feel free to hit us in the comments. We're going to be wrapping up in just a few minutes here, so hit us up in the comment section below if you have any questions about these hidden cameras. LP, is there something I haven't asked about yet? Is there something that you're sticks out, you want people to know?
I think we've touched on pretty much everything. It's just, again, reiterate, do not destroy that camera if you find it. And one of the things, even if you're not sure about, say, a clock. If you're not sure, you can't find a camera, you can always stick it in a drawer. So that if there is a camera that happens to be attached to that somehow, it's not going to see anything. And we don't want to make people paranoid. That's not what we're here for, and I understand that because I started immediately thinking of all the places I've been. But we just want to make people more aware, of their surroundings, so that they don't become a victim.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this is happening. We're not here to scare people or alarm them or provide a false sense of, this is happening all over the place. But it is happening, and it's happening more and more often. And we think that you should be aware of it and know how to protect yourself, and that's why we did this story.
Deborah, thanks for watching. She says, wow, really opened my eyes. Thank you for doing this
Thanks,
reporting.
Deborah.
Watching from Boston, Massachusetts.
Wow.
Deborah, I'm going to be up that way in a few weeks. My sister just got a job at the Children's Hospital up your way.
I hope you've got a warm coat.
Right, thank you. Brenda says hello. Brenda, you look like a top fan. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Mary, Kathy, Jerry, Mark, thank you guys all for tuning in. We really appreciate this. We're going to wrap up here now, but you guys can always hit either of them up with questions. LP, why don't you tell us how to contact you again?
Sure, yeah. Email is the best way. lpowell@10tampabay.com.
And Jenna?
Yeah, and my email is jbourne, JBOURNE, @10tampabay.com. That's 10tampabay.com. And my handle on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all Jenna Bourne, WTSP.
And Elaine, you're right. I saw your comment just now. It is a shame that we're even talking about this. But the good news is, and Jenna, I'm glad you hit on it earlier. Like Jenna said, we're not trying to scare anybody. We are reporting on instances you probably didn't know about before. One you definitely didn't know about before. That coming up tomorrow at 6 o'clock on 10 Tampa Bay. But a huge part of their piece is solution oriented. It is what you can do, how you can identify these, so you're not a victim. So we think that's really important. Go ahead.
And that's something that I try to do, with all of our What's Brewing episodes, is I don't want to just tell you about a problem. I want to bring you solutions, whether that's how to protect yourself or whether that's bringing the problem to the people in charge who have the power to do something about it and fix it. There's investigative journalism that doesn't also tell you how to fix the problem, I think, is where a lot of people wind up getting frustrated. And why some people wind up, I think, turning away from news. And we want to do better.
Right.
And so, go ahead, Lauren.
I was going to say, and it's also something, we learn from our stories as well. Mm-hmm. And
Right.
I think that's something that's important. I think a lot of people think that journalists and journalism, we just sit up there and, just report what's in front of us. But we're actually digging into this stuff and learning things along with our viewers. And because those things are important to us as well.
I tell you what, I've been checking every public restroom I go in now looking. I'm looking at all the hooks. I'm looking at anything that's flashing. I'm looking for lenses every time now.
And just to leave you with a little bit of a tease, too, the thing is, you talk about, caring about our community and whatnot. We really care about our military community here. We've got a massive military community with MacDill being right here in our backyard. So the notion that one of these cameras was at a VA hospital, is one of the things that got the ball rolling on this story. We have people living in this area who we want to protect, and that's one of the impetuses for this whole story.
Yeah, and that camera was found in an employee restroom, so we don't know whether it was an employee who put it in there, whether it was a member of the public, but that person is still out there.
Right.
And that's what really alarmed me.
So you can catch that and much, much more tomorrow at 6 p.m. on 10 Tampa Bay. Tune in to us however you watch your TV. If you aren't getting us on air through traditional means, come check us out on our Roku and Fire TV apps. You can also download our app for your mobile phone. We look forward to seeing you then, and afterwards we're going to have even more resources on our website. So check us out at 10tampabay.com and feel free to reach out to Jenna or Lauren Powell for more. Thank you all so much for watching. We really, really appreciate it.